Hey guys, JJ back here. This time to give you guys a pick on Eastern Michigan versus Ball State. Right now I'm seeing the line at Eastern Michigan -2, total of 133. Okay, so we grab a loss after a little two-game winning streak, bringing the channel down to 16-5 against the spread in college basketball. As I mentioned, the pace we are on moving forward is completely unsustainable from a winning percentage perspective. But I will tell you, I still really liked Cincinnati in that spot. Houston, had made tough shot after tough shot down the stretch, and Cincinnati ended up doing what they so often do, and that's go through a not so well-timed scoring drought. Game was playing out how I figured up until some point early in the second half, where since he had a 6-point lead, Houston takes a timeout, and then Houston just goes on a ridiculous tear to end the game. Kudos to them, for playing really well in their toughest road test of the year. It's worth noting that things like this will happen in games, and it will certainly happen to us moving forward. There are variables you just certainly can't control, and what I want to be clear is, don't let a loss like this tilt you into making further bad decisions afterwards. It's only one loss. If you're betting all these games for one unit, if you've been here from the beginning, you'd be up 10.5 units to date. This is why I'm such an advocate of making all your bets be only one unit, because once you're ahead like we are, it'll take a hell of a cooler to start giving some of this money back. I try to say this in practically every video. I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not sitting here pounding my chest after every win. I'm not preaching to you about how we constantly won't lose. And more or less, I'm actually doing quite the opposite. My stance is always the same. We're here. We're looking to get favorable numbers in favorable spots. I felt like we had a spot there in Cincinnati that really made sense for them to want to show the world that, hey, we're in this American Conference too, and we're pretty damn good. But, Houston hasn't beat them in that gym since they joined the American Conference, which was I believe was about 4 or 5 years ago. So I really felt like we were getting a softer than average number there. But needless to say, I take a look at a game like that and I grade myself accordingly, which maybe it was that Cincinnati wasn't as mouth-watering with regards to value as I had predicted. But even still, you still have to be careful when you're grading yourself like that, because again, it is a one-game sample size. You'll find yourself having struggles grading yourself accordingly after losses, maybe even after wins, because you always assume you were right when you won, you were wrong when you lost. But that just isn't always the case. I mean, regardless, losses are always a good thing for a handicapper. They create your perspective, and they keep you flat on earth. They keep you from overly getting excited about your process, and they keep you more disciplined. A loss is a good humble reality check. Far too often, guys go on large winning streaks and they just don't shut the fuck up about it. They just continue to talk and talk and talk and pound their chest and, I'm this, I'm that. Definitely not the case here with this channel. I've been humbled by this industry plenty of times, and I inevitably will be again. I continue to hone in on the process, understand how I can improve after a loss. Wins and losses will be traded back and forth often in this business, but only a few truly understand what happened in their win or what happened in their loss, and how to adjust themselves properly moving forward as it relates to their process. 60% winning percentage is the goal, and only with the right process will this be not only attainable but sustainable. You are getting that modest level of honesty and transparency on this channel. Now, let's talk about this game. Now, it's Eastern Michigan -2. Again, that's versus Ball State, total 133. Now, you may have been thinking in the last video, why would I preach an entire beginning of a video about how you guys need to be betting more dogs and more unders and then give you guys a small favorite? Well, I want you to understand that, more often than not, I'm going to be betting underdogs, but when I do bet favorites, I'm overconfident in the favorites I'm betting. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to throw 2 units or 3 units or 4 units down on them, but I need to be clear that I am an underdog better. So when I do bet favorites, it's more or less not a common scenario, and definitely one that you're going to want to look to. Now, obviously, the Cincinnati one didn't pan out for us, but that doesn't mean others won't. Now, this is another spot in this game where I'm going to be siding with the favorite, and got a bunch of reasons why. So Ball State travels to play Eastern Michigan in the Convocation Center. It's Eastern Michigan's home court. To open up the MAC tournament, this is the MAC, not the MAAC. I look at this line, and I'm still kind of scratching my head. I get it. Ball State is a slightly better team, but man, is this team struggling recently. Here's what we know. Ball State has one win in their last 6 games. They were favored in 5 of them, and yet only have 1 win to show for it. They're 0-7 against the spread on their last 7, 3-14 against the spread on their last 17. Now, I say this all the time, how I'm not an against the spread junkie, but yet here I am giving you more against the spread numbers. When you're capping a game, though, when a team is 0-7 against the spread on their last 7 and 3-14 against the spread in their last 17, the shit sticks out like a chick with big tits walking into a house party. all the eyes that research this game should be looking right square at it. The shit's glaring. By the way, 2 of these losses were straight up against Eastern Michigan. Those were also both against the spread losses. You see, I don't really care about against the spread numbers that date back years ago or decades ago. But when you see something like this, you kind of have to try to understand why. Of these 17 games, Ball State was favored in 14 of them, yet they only won 4 of them. So 4 and 10 in games they've been favored in. This team is playing wildly unconfident basketball right now. A lot of this can be claimed to their lack of efficiency offensively. This is a team that plays very quickly and uses a very quick tempo. They typically like to play in the mid-70s. However, this team has gone over 72 points. This team has not gone over 72 points once in their last 7 games. If you look at their scoring average for the year, it's over 75 points a game. But again, over their last 7, they have not scored over 72 points. This is a team that is not putting it together offensively, and a team that plays at the tempo they do, they practically need to score 70 to win because of all the extra possessions they give to their opponents. Now, on the EMU side, there is nothing outstandingly glaring, whether that's really good or really bad. They've won 4 of their last 6 of their last 9, against a spread number somewhere in between. But what I really like about it is this team is, in fact, feeling the fruits of victory. This time of year, that's an extremely important quality when you're looking to handicap a game. Get the idea of a team's due factor out of your mind. It's simply a fallacy. This time of year, you want confident teams that you're betting on because ultimately down the stretch of a game, that's what's going to really show and be really pronounced. Based on this matchup, EMU should be able to force plenty of turnovers, block a lot of shots inside, grab a lot of offensive boards. Analytically, they have a big edge in those departments. Now, when we break down conference play between these 2 teams, EMU forces the second most turnovers, attempts the most free throws, and is extremely efficient at scoring inside. And all Ball State can really counter that with is good, effective field goal percentage defense inside. My issue is that Ball State is absolutely horrible at shooting the 3, and EMU's length will cause them a really hard time inside when Ball State's trying to score. Let me also mention that EMU has also beaten this team twice, and while I'd like to say it's difficult, I always like to say it's always difficult to beat an evenly matched team 3 times, sometimes you just do not match up well against a team. In both games, Ball State struggled to score from the field, while EMU shot at about 50% in both games from the field. So with all this info, right, you might be thinking, wow, this should be a shoo-in, right? What is Eastern Michigan going to blow this team out? Absolutely not. Well, they could, but I mean, I want to be clear that's not what I'm saying. How does Ball State win this game? Well, Ball State is a very good team. They had a very good start to the year. For them to win this game, they'd have to all of a sudden find this confidence. Now, they haven't had it. They haven't shown it. Not to say that it can't happen. They'll have to convert their tough shots inside. Eastern Michigan's defense gives this team fits. It's given them fits both games. And they're going to have to shoot a good percentage from the charity stripe because they will find their way there. Eastern Michigan is pretty foul prone. So Ball State will be finding themselves at the free throw line. However, Ball State is 10th in the conference during conference play converting at the free throw line. They are not a very good free throw shooting team overall. So what do we have here? We have a team in Eastern Michigan who's playing at home to open the conference tournament against a team they've already beaten twice and score very well against against Ball State's man defense. We also have a team in Ball State playing extremely unconfident basketball right now, marked by their 0-7 against the spread and their lack of offensive efficiency in their last 17 games. And they only have 1 actual straight-up win in their last 6. Eastern Michigan's ability to truly slow this game down to a crawl, shortening the amount of total possessions, is not good at all for a team in Ball State who is constantly looking to extend the total amount of possessions per game with their fast tempo. I feel like 2 is an extremely favorable number here, and I also feel like this line is only going to get bigger when you consider all the points that I've referenced. I think 2 is very strong. If you can get it, I would grab it as soon as you can. So to be clear, I am laying the 2 points here with Eastern Michigan versus Ball State. I want to thank you guys for watching. I know you guys have been awesome recently with liking the video and subscribing. Again, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and always appreciate in the comments. Love the fact that you guys have been commenting on the videos and loving the positivity. Let's pick back up this winning streak with a nice win here. But again, it's really a bet in the number here. If you can get 2, get it. Not really in love with 2.5 as much, so that's why I'm really promoting 2 here. I do expect this line to move because again, this is very favorable. Okay, I want to thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next video. I might have another video tonight for you guys on some process and betting strategies. So stay tuned for that as well. I want to thank you guys again for watching, and be back soon.